Just like your physical body could be sick and morbidly obese, your mind can be as well. If you find yourself doom scrolling all the time, having problems following your dreams and goals and sticking with the healthy changes you keep telling yourself you're going to make, but that you keep putting it off, there's a fix for that, and we're going to go over that today. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about attention. So, in the same way, the quality and the quantity of the food you consume affects your physical health, the quality and quantity of content you consume is going to affect your mental health. There's also exercise when it comes to both physical health and the mind as well. So we all know low quality food will make you sick, it'll make your skin not as nice, and you won't feel as energized. And overeating will, of course, lead to you being overweight, having risk of heart disease and things like that. Low quality content will make your mind sick. It'll make your mood worse. It'll make your perception of the world more negative. And too much content will make you mentally obese, which is basically having a short attention span, lack of focus, not being able to put your attention where you want, having it taken away by things without your choosing. And content can be anything, by the way. It's not just digital media like YouTube. Content can also be what you hear about when you're gossiping with your friends. It can be books that you read. It could be your neighbors arguing next door. Really anything that you take into your mind. And the way that we consume content is that we place our attention upon it. But even if it's just something in the background we aren't completely focused on, we still consume it as well, just unconsciously. So to be conscious means to have awareness. And attention is the thing that dictates what you are aware of. Attention is the very mechanism by which we experience life and reality. Our physical bodies, using the senses, pick up data, and our minds interpret that data. Our attention is either on the external world, on the senses like sight, smell, sound, or it's on the internal world like thoughts, memories, planning, worrying. Now, attention could be narrowed down onto a single object, or it can be broadened to encompass nothing in particular, to encompass everything. Think about like a flashlight shining on like a single object versus a lamp that lights up the whole room. Your attention can be narrowed or it can be broadened. Now, why is all of this important? It's important because if attention is the mechanism by which you experience your life and reality, and you have little to no control over your attention, how long you pay attention to something, or what you pay attention to, or if something grabs your attention when you don't want it to, then you're literally giving up control of your experience of life to outside forces. And in this modern world, with this attention economy especially, different companies and entities are all vying for your attention and doing what they can to undermine your attention or grab hold of it for their own gain and profit. And they don't have your best interest at heart. And even if that wasn't the case, even if there weren't these entities really trying to capture your attention, if you don't have control of your attention, you simply might just pay more attention to things that are like divisive and negative and the stuff that brings less value to your life over the things that really matter, like love and connection and spending time with the people you care about and your hobbies, right? We all find ourselves spending way more time on our phones and memes and social media and just brain rot stuff rather than get into the things we genuinely care about, the things that really are going to fulfill us. Whether that's just having undivided attention with your partner while you guys have dinner or have a conversation, or putting your full attention on whatever passion project you have. That's the stuff that really fulfills us, not scrolling hour after hour. On top of that, we are naturally negatively biased when it comes to our attention. We pay more attention to negative things than positive things, just because it better ensures our survival. It's not a trait that's very useful to us in the modern world so much, but it's still highly prevalent. So if you don't have much control of your attention, you might find yourself constantly worrying and thinking about worst case scenarios and having anxious thoughts rather than keeping your mind on gratitude and possibility and what can go right for you. The effect that this has on your life can't be understated. It's actually really important what your perception of yourself and your world is. It affects your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, everything. So if you don't have control over that attention, it's likely going to keep skewing towards the negative, towards anxious thoughts and doubts and how you can't do this, how you can't do that. That's not the life you want to live. So to reclaim your attention is to reclaim your life. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's really just like becoming physically healthy. If you're sick and obese, you got to get your diet straight and you got to get exercise. And it's got to be a lifestyle change. It's not an overnight thing. It's going to be showing up through the discomfort day after day. So to get mentally fit, to get mentally healthy, to get your attention back, you're going to have to be way more mindful of the content you consume, the type of content, and how much of it you consume. You're going to have to exercise your mind, literally do practices, mental practices that sharpen it, that really push the limits of your focus. And that's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be boring. It's going to be, way less pleasurable than the easy dopamine you could find everywhere. For the diet part, things like deleting apps off your phone, using the screen time feature. I highly recommend a book by Cal Newport called Digital Minimalism. Give that a read and implement some of the strategies in that book. It really did a lot for me when I gave it a try. You can also leave your phone outside of the bedroom, outside of the bathroom. Don't bring it into those places. At least don't bring it into bed with you. And on the exercise part, look into meditation, Anapana, Vipassana, just different things that get your mind going from occupied and busy and consuming all the time to really just focus on one thing that's not so stimulating or nothing in particular at all. Our minds are so frantic. They're just constantly chattering nonstop. I mean, really try it. Sit down for 2 minutes and see if your mind can stop thinking or if there's any space between your thoughts at all. I bet you there's none. That's not the natural state of the mind. That's a sign of a highly obese and sick mind. And if you don't have control over your attention, you're going to get sucked into those thoughts, and not all of them are true, and so many of them are negative. And again, that's going to shape your world, your worldview, your view about yourself, which in turn is going to shape your reality and your future. So the point of diet and exercise, whether it's physical or mental, is simply to improve the well-being of your life. Like, there'd be no point in doing it if it didn't make things better for you. The reason why I suggest it is just, it'll simply make your experience of life better than it is right now. Of course, there's a cost that comes with it. There's the energy and there's the discomfort, there's the resistance you got to go through, maybe some knowledge acquisition on how to work out properly, how to exercise your mind properly, how to eat, how to consume less content, all that stuff. But it's worthwhile. I highly suggest actually taking the time to do this, because you don't have a long time to live, even if you live to old age, and you don't want to look back on your life, just having memories simply of just doom scrolling and looking at memes and wasting away. You want to take advantage of this time you have here. And I know in the back of your mind there's things you really want to do, and there's someone you really want to become. So let's get to it. Let's start making things. Let's start doing the hobbies, doing the art, doing whatever it is that you really care about doing. I mean, you don't got to beat yourself up for waking up in the morning and looking at your phone right away and looking at it last thing before you go to bed and just feeling so empty every time you're wasting another day instead of doing the thing that you really care about. You don't have to beat yourself up about that, but I know you don't feel good about it. I know you don't feel fulfilled doing that. So come on, let's do this together. The funny thing is, the pain of staying the same has to be more painful than the pain of actually making a change. But the problem is the easy dopamine from the phones and from junk food and sex and all these things, they're so easy to obtain that whenever you feel the pain of staying the same, you just end up coping by going to one of these things, and it's a vicious cycle. So you gotta put these things away. You gotta let yourself feel that pain. Pain isn't a bad thing. Again, it's an agent of change. You should transmute it into something positive, not try to escape from it or see it as a bad thing. If you're struggling with motivation, check out my last video. It's about purpose, it's about meaning, and how not having that can make it hard to do anything. And finding purpose can give you motivation, a reason to start moving forward, whether it's with small things or with big things. Also, a really important thing to understand is that attention, not time, is our most valuable currency. We use the term pay attention for a reason. Time goes by no matter what. You can't really dictate that. You don't really have control over time, but you can have control over attention. Attention is actually your experience of life moment by moment over time. So kind of the way that time is even used by you is by how you place your attention or where you place your attention. So a lack of attention is actually the greatest poverty, and the most valuable thing you can do for someone is to pay them your undivided attention. So the question is, do you have control over your attention? An easy way to test this is sit down for 5 minutes and see if you can just keep your attention on your breathing. If it goes to thoughts and it goes to sounds and it goes to sensations, even though before you sat down, you promised yourself, I'm going to simply keep my attention on my breath for 5 minutes straight. Easy way to find out. If you're unable to do that, it has a big effect on your life, way more than you think it does. There's a quote by Blaise Pascal: all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. That quote is really true. It's more profound than you might imagine. I mean, the inability to just be okay sitting still alone in a room shows how compulsive you are. And if you're compulsive, that literally means you're just pulled to things. You're not guided by what's most important to you or by your principles or what's valuable to you. You're just guided by probably pain and fear, pleasure and pain, just avoidance of discomfort. That's not a fulfilling life. That's not gonna do it for you. So thanks for giving me your attention, and I hope this is of value to you. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you next time.